It's time for the PFT Power Rankings, presented by our friends at Toyota. All right. Number 1 through 4 have not changed. The Eagles have been number 1 all season long, and they stay there until they lose. Although I did think a little bit about the Bills and the Packers moving up and the Eagles maybe inching down because the Eagles have not been dominant.
Right.
But they're 2-0. They're 2-0, and they find ways to win. The biggest change in the first half of the power rankings, Commanders dropped 3 after losing. You see the Chiefs are down 3 to number 10. I know they're 0-2. Folks, these aren't standings. I know they're 0-2, but they've lost to 2 of the teams in the upper echelon of the league right now.
Yeah, I hear
the Chargers.
When's the last time you had them at number 10, right? When's the last time they've been this low on your power ranking, right? Just guesstimate. What do you think?
It probably hasn't happened since Patrick Mahomes arrived in 2018. And I would say at some point, maybe in 2017 when they were slumping. Remember there was a moment during Mahomes' rookie season when they had him in mothballs.
Yeah.
That the offense was sputtering.
Yeah, we thought maybe.
We were saying this is our first year together. Maybe they pivot to Mahomes. Probably one of those weeks in October, November of 2017, they would have slipped down to 10 or below because they weren't playing up to the standard that we were used to.
Yeah. It's shocking to see them there, right? I mean, it really is, and you're totally justified. You're right. They lost 2 games, and they lost to 2 teams that are really damn good. The Chargers are good. Jesse Minter, that D coordinator, he's going to be the next guy. He's going to be a guy up for a head coaching job here real soon. I mean, they got pieces. Justin Herbert looks like a different guy. So I have a hard time. Listen, I don't have a hard time sitting here. I think you
Chris,
got the teams right.
Here's where it would have been.
Okay.
Here's where it would have been. I'm looking at it right now.
Right.
They lost 4 in a row in 2017.
Right.
4 in a row. And that would have been when there's no way you're losing 4 in a row and staying in the top 10.
Yeah, right. So that it's been a long damn time, and we know they're in the midst of a special run, and we still expect them to rebound here. But I don't think you're wrong here with having them at 10. I think you got the right teams in the top 7. I do. I do. I look at it, and it's hard. That's where, like, I hear you with your Eagles conversation. Number 1, they're the Kings. It's hard to dethrone them until they've been dethroned. I hear you that. I will say I do think the team that's looked the most impressive to me through 2 weeks is the Green Bay Packers. That to me has been the best team through 2 weeks. Now, I hear everything you're saying there. So the Packers, to me, if you just went off of what we've seen 2 games in this year right now, I would make the Packers the number 1 team in the sport right now with what we've seen from Michael Parsons and everything there. And then I'd probably go Eagles. I'd probably go Bills after that. And I guess I'm a little surprised you have the Rams down at 7. I'm a little surprised you're not a little higher on them and what they're all about.
Well, but where would they fit higher than 7? Where would you put them? They lost. They didn't lose. They barely beat the Texans 14-9, and they kind of screwed around with the Titans longer than I thought they would.
Yeah.
So who would you put them above?
Well, I think there's a part of me that would probably put them in front of the Ravens, Chargers, and Buccaneers right now. Right now, I would.
Wow.
I think I would. I think I'd put them that high. Right? I mean, there would be a team that I'd go, hey, they're worthy of being in that class. We've said it a million times. They were toe-to-toe, and we were sitting there going, holy crap, the Rams are going to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia in the snow. I think they got championship merit right now. The Texans are a pain in the butt. And the Titans, with that defense we saw, they've been a pain in the butt too with the Broncos. So, I guess I would have the Rams a little bit higher. But I understand your thought. I don't think you're crazy, even though I think you're crazy.
Well, they get their chance this week because they go back to Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah, damn.
That'll
clear things out.
To knock the Eagles out of number 1 and put themselves into the top 5, maybe the top 4, maybe the top 3, depending upon what happens in Philadelphia. All right, let's look at the bottom 16. And the biggest drop belongs to a team that really had the air come completely out of the balloon.
Out of the horn, you mean?
6 days.
Oh,
It was fun while it lasted. Somebody dropped an apple in the tuba. They've fallen 9 spots because J.J. McCarthy's injured. Carson Wentz is starting. They added Desmond Ridder yesterday to a roster that also includes undrafted rookie Max Brosmer. it's going to be a long month for the Minnesota Vikings. Some early season games that looked winnable now become and the wheels could come off. So they're all the way down out of the top 20. The biggest drop by far this week. The Bears fell 8 as well because they got blown out by the Lions. And also, with the Vikings being exposed by the Falcons, it makes the Bears losing to the Vikings look even worse. So the two teams that were involved in the exciting Monday night game have plummeted 17 spots between them.
Yeah. I can't fault you for any of that. I mean, it's the jury's out on those two teams and where it might go right now. So I understand that. I do think I look at it. I mean, listen, there's a lot of interesting teams there, 17 through 24, and I think some of those teams in that group can make some jumps and get up into the first page. I'm a little surprised you got the Dolphins at 32. I would have the Carolina Panthers clearly at 32 right now. That would be my. I mean, hey, the Dolphins at least had a chance to win the football game, and really, and by all due accounts, looked like they were going to win the football game there pretty late in the fourth quarter. So I think they're a little bit better to me than the Panthers or the Browns and the Saints and the Jets. I think I would put them up a little higher than 32.
Well, but one of the subjective factors I add to that assessment is, to me, the Dolphins are oozing dysfunction right now.
Right.
And with that short week game coming up, and Mike McDaniel said earlier this week, it's a blessing after you lose a game to play on a Thursday night. It's not a blessing when it's the Bills that you have to go play in Buffalo. That's a curse. Because if they get blown out and you've got Thursday until the following Monday, that's the closest thing that you have to a bye until week 12. If they get embarrassed on Thursday night, I'm on Mike McDaniel getting fired watch on Friday. And I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he will. But how could you not? 10 years ago, they fired Joe Philbin when he was 1-3. You go to 0-3 and you cap it with a nationally televised, embarrassing loss to the Bills. If that happens on Thursday night, how are you not wondering what's going to happen on Friday? So there's just that, we said it before the season, this constant talk, and nothing ever changes. We're going to change the culture. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it never changes, Chris. And we saw it. It was embarrassing week one. I mean, I know they almost beat the Patriots, but week one is still kind of lingering.
I hear you. I know. And I hear you. I just, like I said, 32. We're going to talk more about the Dolphins and the coaching situation, the things you said the next segment. So I don't want to dive too much into that. But I hear it. And I think the other interesting thing, too, is, your bottom half. Yeah, like I said, I think there's some teams there with some potential. Will the Falcons' offense get better? We've seen 2 weeks ago, hey, the Falcons' D looks like it's a real pain in the butt. Watch out for that. Can they make a jump? Your Cardinals at 18. There's some things to look at the Cardinals right now. That score's misleading last week with Carolina. They got conservative late in the game and messed some things up. They whooped the crap out of the Carolina Panthers when the game was competitive and they were fighting in there. So, there's some teams this year that I find interesting, even the Steelers. Even though they're at 17, I know they lost last week. But damn, who knows what happens in that game if Caleb Johnson just knows the rules of the NFL and doesn't let the ball roll into the end zone and give the Seahawks a free touchdown, right? That changed the football game. So I think it's a fun year with the middle class in the NFL, and there's some unknown there that I'm excited about.
And if Calvin Austin III didn't try to catch a ball
that's
that he
right,
wasn't
too.
supposed to touch,
exactly.
Drawing the ire of Aaron Rodgers, and we'll never have a football thrown his way ever again. All right, let's. One last point. Although this is kind of a roundabout indictment on my formula and my process. As of last year, week 3. The Rams were 24th, the Commanders were 26th, and the Broncos were 28th, and all three ended up making the playoffs. Now, my guess is all three began 0-2 or 1-1.
Something
and had
like
some bad
that.
losses.
Right.
Somebody's got to have those spots, and you can play your way up, you can play your way down. It's a living, breathing list that changes every week when a collection of games is played, unless you're on a bye week. Then if you're on a bye week, I try not to move you. Sometimes you get moved up a spot because the teams in front of you crap the bed. Sometimes I got to drop you down one if there was an injury or something. But usually, other than the bye week, you're going to move one way or the other. You're going to move. And as Gary points out, both the Rams and Broncos were 0-2 last year when they were in the bottom, and the Commanders were 1-1. They must have beaten the Giants, who would have been 31 or 32.
They did. They lost to the Bucs, and they beat the Giants in a game where they probably shouldn't have won. If you remember, Malik Neighbors just catches the ball by the sideline at the end of the football game. The Giants are going to be in easy field goal range and probably win the football game, right? And that was also the game where, they also lost their field goal kicker, right? He got hurt, and they had no field goal kicker, right? Yeah. So that was like you were justified with where you had those teams early in the year last year.
And then they turned around. So, yeah, there is hope.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like all hope is lost for your team, like Vikings fans should probably feel today, there is a chance. Who knows? Maybe Carson Wentz can recapture the pre-torn ACL magic from 2017 when he was on the short list of MVP candidates before it all went sideways. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.